East Rutherford, New Jersey, July 5, 2026. The stadium lights illuminate a final score that few predicted. Norway 2, Brazil 1. For Brazil, the loss signaled a historical low. This was their earliest exit from a World Cup since 1990, a shock to a nation that views the trophy as a birthright. But the focus quickly shifted from the score to a single figure on the pitch. At 34 years old, Neymar Jr. had just played his final match for the Brazilian national team. It was the closing chapter for a player who entered the world stage as a teenage prodigy. 16 years later, the journey that carried the weight of a nation's expectations had finally reached its conclusion. The 2026 cycle began with a return to his roots, with Neymar playing club football at home for Santos FC. But his body was beginning to show the strain of a long career. A hamstring injury limited him throughout the tournament, leaving the veteran to watch most of the action from the bench, managing only 2 substitute appearances. Despite the physical setbacks, he retired as Brazil's all-time leading scorer. This chart compares the national benchmarks. Neymar finished with 80 goals, surpassing the long-standing record of 77. That record belonged to Pelé, the man who set the gold standard for every Brazilian player who followed. His resume was filled with international honors, including the gold medal he won at the 2016 Olympics in Rio. Yet for Neymar, the individual records and Olympic gold always felt like a prelude. He remained obsessed with the one trophy that continued to slip through his fingers, the World Cup. In the round of 16, that obsession met its match in Erling Haaland. He was the focal point of a Norway team built on speed and power, a direct challenge to Brazil's style of play. Haaland struck twice, his clinical finishing exploiting gaps in the Brazilian defense to build a 2-0 lead that left the 5-time champions reeling. Brazil's squad struggled to adapt. The coaching staff faced the impossible task of trying to inject their veteran leader into a game that was moving at a pace his body could no longer match. As the clock moved into the final 30 minutes, the Brazilian bench could only watch as the game drifted further away. Norway's victory was a testament to their organization. Their ability to neutralize the creative individual players of Brazil showed that in this match, disciplined structure was enough to overcome raw artistry. Neymar was finally subbed in late, a final attempt to find a miracle for a nation on the brink of elimination. Seeing him limp into the fray evoked memories of 2014. That year, a fractured vertebra in the quarterfinals ended his tournament on a stretcher, leaving him unable to help his team when they needed him most. Without him, Brazil suffered a historic 7-1 defeat to Germany in the semifinals, a loss Neymar had to witness from the sidelines. In 2026, he was able to participate, scoring a stoppage time penalty to make it 2-1. But it was a hollow contribution. Seconds later, the referee's whistle blew. There were no more chances left. It was a microcosm of his international career, a moment of individual skill that couldn't mask the reality of a physical breakdown and a collective loss. Neymar slumped to the turf in tears, staying there until his teammates pulled him up to face the crowd. Facing the cameras for the last time as a Brazil player, he was brief. "I started here, I finished here." He was referencing a friendly against the United States in August 2010. That was the day a teenage Neymar scored on his debut and began his 16-year tenure with the Selección. Poetically, that debut occurred on the same grass at MetLife Stadium. His international story began and ended in the exact same location. Brazil now has to look toward a future without him. The next generation of talent must now find a way to carry the enormous expectations that Neymar shouldered since he was 18. He spent 16 years in pursuit of a single goal, a journey marked by record-breaking stats and high-profile heartbreaks. Neymar exits as a statistical legend, the leading scorer for the most successful footballing nation on earth. But for Brazil, his story will always be remembered as a 16-year chase for a prize that stayed just out of reach.